Something when you're drawing a human figure, you got to kind of keep in mind is proportions, and the way you can line up proportions is through something called anatomical landmarks. So proportions are important because it helps keep your arms not looking too long, your legs looking too short, your head looking too stretched or whatever, torsos not being long enough, any number of things. So it's important that you understand proportions and anatomical landmarks. What that means is that kind of very broadly, to draw a human form consistently each and every time, you got to kind of genericize it. We understand that everybody's built differently and looks differently, and it's understanding how to generalize the form first is what allows you to then bend the rules. So if you can draw a figure correctly the same time each and every time, then you can bend the rules after that. So we have a very loose kind of mannequin here, and sometimes from here you just want to kind of use your guidelines to line everything up, and the guidelines are based off of the head. And you'll read in books a lot of times that they'll say like a figure is 8 heads tall, 7 heads tall, 9 heads tall, or whatever. It's based off of not an actual measurement like an inch or a half inch. It's based off however big you draw the head. So that's why it becomes kind of a critical measurement point, in that is you've got to pay attention to how big you've drawn the head, so that when you draw the rest of the body, you're basing it off of how many heads that you have. So as we see here, we have it set up to an 8 head measurement. And so each parts of the body line up to one head high. And as you'll see in other tutorials, you can also use the head to determine the width of the body as well. So like for example, if you split this figure with an action line down the middle, from the elbow to the middle of the chest is about a little shy of a full head, and so on and so forth. Now, anatomical landmarks is that you want to kind of pay attention to where things line up by using the head itself. So, from the top of the head to the chin is one head. From the bottom of the chin, another head lines up to around the nipples, but it also lines up to where the shoulders start breaking into the arms. And then from there, the bottom of the head lines up to the navel, which is also around where the elbows break. It also lines up to the end of the crotch, to the end about the middle of the thigh, actually, and where if a hand with its fingers extended, not clenched in a fist like you see in the example here, but the fingers extended, relaxed, in the middle of the thigh is where another head breaks. The bottom of the knees, or where another head breaks, about the middle of the calf is where another head breaks, and of course finally from there it takes us down to our ankles and our foot. So as you'll see, pretty much what I've just kind of reviewed here is talks about where these anatomical landmarks are, and it looks like a lot, but that's where practice comes in. And that's also where drawing, as you can see here in this mannequin form, we draw everything in the mannequin form to use it as the kind of base, almost like a skeleton, as you would, and understanding where things are going to line up on your figure when you're starting to draw it out. The little green line that you see there is to kind of, again, you just show you that it's these tricks that you learn to line things up proportionately. So, for example, where the green line indicates the top of the shoulders, it's also where the collarbone is. And you can see it's about half the size of the head. And so that's where the neck goes. And the neck, the bottom of the chin down to about halfway of the head will show you where you start drawing your shoulders at. And that's where your neck goes into the collarbone. So again, it's these little tricks here that kind of help you line things up as a point of reference. It is also what helps you keep things balanced in proportion on both sides of the form, the left and the right. And that's basically proportions in comic book illustration.